New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Welcome to Ministers Talking a weekly program where Rev BRZ and Rev Z and their guests chat about current affairs, world events, spiritual principles, and any old they want to talk about. Based on the New Thought philosophy and ancient wisdoms, Ministers Talking shares a visionary perspective of the evolving spiral called spiritual living. Join us each week as we explore the emerging paradigm of life on planet Earth and beyond.
And good morning, dear ones. Dr. Robert here, hiding behind the banner. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Rev Z right here.
Planet Earth and beyond. I listened to that part in the intro. I feel pressure. Reverend Bill over here.
All right. How many times have you been
Bill?
on? Wait. How many times have you been on this show and you've never actually listened to the intro?
I've listened to the intro, but I've never commented on that part of it. And it's like one of those things that gets my attention, but then it goes by. So I swung at the pitch this time.
Okay, thank you.
And you know, Bill, that's stuck in my mind as well. And I was gonna say, what a perfect day for that to stand out with the new moon starting today. So we get that's the other world. We got a new moon starting today. We got a brand new beginning. So we're gonna take this thing out of space.
There we go. Mars, here we come.
Well, based on the state of North America, Mars is starting to look pretty good. It's got to be an easier government to work with than what we got going on now, right?
Well, there's no history there, that's for sure.
That's the truth. Good morning, folks. Welcome to Ministers Talking Shit. It's a Friday morning. We've got our very good friend and sometimes even special host, Reverend Dr. Bill Marchiony, all the way from Philadelphia with us this morning. So we're glad you're here. And, we pulled into the green room, as it were, before the show here today. And it seems like there's really only one thing to talk about. And for me, it comes down to the rhetoric, the violent rhetoric that is being thrown around in the presidential race right now is appalling. And I had this question. I didn't ask you guys this in the green room. I was saving it for live. Is it even possible? Are we beyond the point where we can have a free and fair election in the United States? Woo! Leave them speechless. I love it.
I was going to let Z talk first, but I'll say, no, if you listen to Donald Trump, he can have a free and fair election as long as he wins.
Right.
Which, of course, is not the question that you asked. Is it possible for us to do that? Yes, I believe it is. Is that what we have queued up for next Tuesday? Both sides are lawyering up. One side lawyering up because that's the only way they think they can win. That's the only way they claim they won last time. And the other side because their opponents are lawyering up.
And Georgia's warning that that they have proof of Russian election interference, and between our own, it would be obvious to me that our adversaries would want to screw with our election. But why do we keep doing it?
Well, because there's so much juice in power. There's so much juice, if you will, in being able to especially in Trump's place, to be like a god, that everything he says, everybody's sitting there waiting on his bated breath. And
Okay.
I mean, that's my 2 cents on it. I mean, there's others, but man, oh man, I think he just, like they said, he wants to be an autocrat, a dictator, and he'll do anything to get that.
Make America great again. Bring us back to the way when America was wonderful. When white men were in charge, and everybody had to do what we said, and that's what it means to me. An autocratic charge. I can't imagine somebody telling me, "I want you to come to Washington D.C. and invade the Capitol," and to think for any reason that's a good idea. It's just, even if I love carrying my AK-47, and even if I love, waving a flag and claiming allegiance to a particular political party, it's like, really, where's my line personally, as a citizen, as an American? It's like, if I have to be storming the Capitol, something has gone seriously sideways.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
I guess.
I mean,
Well,
I was
is
just
that
gonna say quickly. I mean, if you listen to Trump's presentations, speeches, rallies, whatever you want to call them, there's only about a fourth of what he says that has anything to do with governing this country. The other 3/4 is just craziness.
I think you're being generous.
I was going to say the same thing. I don't think there's 25% in there.
Yeah, I don't think there's. I don't hear any policy other than like ban and other than directives. Like we hear in this most recent volley, they're him and Vance, their closing arguments are boiling down to trans people aren't real. Right? That's what it's boiling down to. Trans people aren't real. That's all a lie. And we're going to legislate. We're going to ban the use of the word. We're going to tell people, right, all these things. And there isn't policy. There isn't working towards a better America. There is simply attacks. There's violent rhetoric. There's personal attacks, and that's it. I'm good. She sucks. That's it. End of story. Let's go to you don't need to vote. Just say yes, and I'll take over. Hell, don't worry. Next time you won't ever have to vote again in your life. Put me in this time, and we're done. We're good. I'll do away with government. I'll do away with all that stuff that you don't like, that I don't like.
Yeah, I notice in the comments that Linda is trying to steer us back to metaphysics. So it's way too early in the show for that to actually work, Linda. Can we have a free, unless we believe it first, does it start in mind? And yeah, it does start in mind. But you know what? For my entire life, and I'm not young, for my entire life, that was a given. Of course we have free and fair elections. Election day, you go to the polls, you cast your vote, the votes get counted, and that's the result.
Somebody might even hand you water and not get arrested.
The loser concedes, the winner takes office, and if you don't like who won, then you do it again at the end of the term and try and turn things around and spend a lot of time pointing out just exactly how bad the person who won is. That's right. The way it worked for my entire life. And then the rules changed because we got somebody who doesn't care about the rules. And now all of us who metaphysically thought this was a done deal, it's like, why is this a question?
Yeah. It's unfortunate because I know there's a lot of good metaphysicians, new thoughters out there that are checking out and could very easily just forget to vote between now and Tuesday and are checking out of the whole thing because it goes what's happening does not look like the world we all desire to live in.
Well, yeah, but Tuesday is actually a wonderful stopgap moment. It's like you don't have to vote forever. You just need to vote once. Because if the results on Tuesday night are convincing enough that every media outlet calls the entire race for Kamala Harris by 9 o'clock, then it's going to be much more difficult to say, well, there's a contest that I'm going to dispute this in Georgia. If North Dakota votes for Kamala Harris, there's not going to be a conversation.
It doesn't matter that we're going to dispute Georgia. Yeah.
So just once.
And there was this whole thing I heard, and I haven't vetted it fully, but Newt Gingrich talking about, I think Julia Roberts said something about, women can go in and vote differently from their husbands, and Gingrich, he was on Hannity's show, and he was like that, basically saying that shouldn't happen, that they should vote the way their husbands vote, and I'm like, these guys are desperate to, like you said earlier, they feel that they are losing their control and their privileged status to do whatever the hell they want to do without impunity, and they are grabbing for straws.
I agree. The best way, and by the way, I'm going to speak on behalf of what most of the folks in New Thought think of as the opposition. I'm going to speak on behalf of conservative values and people who love all of the things that conservatives stand for, which progressives are generally resistant to. If you are in favor of conservative values and doing all the things that conservatives want, then vote for the government to continue being able to choose that. Take 4 years and say, let's go ahead and let democracy recover, and then we can go back to having a nice even fist fight, rather than a street brawl or a dumpster fire.
Yeah, I agree. I mean,
Yep.
This whole thing about, government for the people, by the people, and all of that people stuff they talk, that has long since been lost. It is now those who have the money and who have the power and who can cause the most havoc with foul language and accusations and all kind of innuendos. That's who we seem to want now. We don't really care about the people.
Well, with the polarization, you get to choose one side or the other, and Americans are pretty much in the middle. So we don't get to choose the middle, or we haven't a lot lately. And it's kind of important, I think, to be able to get back to that.
I received a political ad. It was funny. Last week, my wife said, "Would you please vote so that the damn phone calls will stop?" And I was like, yeah, but it won't stop the mailers. The mailers in your mailbox will keep coming. They'll keep coming even after. But I saw one here in Colorado that was actually printed purple. Not red, not blue, not a blue background, not a red background, but purple. And I was like, I really wish we claimed that here in Colorado, and to some degree we are. But I really wish that as America, we could have conversations that led us to purple. Because there are places where I also, I love that you agree to speak for the conservatives, Bill, because I don't believe Trump speaks for conservative values. However,
right on board with you there. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's a valuable part of the conversation. I have never been one to just say, "Oh, those conservatives." Like, it doesn't work that way. All the far right, yeah. Let's just kind of put some barrier. Let's put some guardrails on this whole thing, and because I don't agree with the very far left either. So, I guess here's a better question: is what's it going to take for America to get to purple?
Well, to wake up from the current fever that we're in, that it has to be all the way left or has to be all the way right. And it is possible that this is a side effect of Citizens United, the Supreme Court decision that money is speech, and you can use your money to speak however you want, which is completely misguided because, of course, people with more money then get to have a bigger voice, and the people with more money tend to want to keep the money, in which case it angles towards the people with money. In which case, I mean, we know who's paying for the mailers. You know, Elon Musk just got sued by the district attorney in Philadelphia for running an illegal lottery to pay people for their vote. It's like, no, and if you're not allowed to spend that kind of money in politics, it would never have come up. But he's got $1 million a day to spend because he's going to get what he wants. And, oh, is that what I want? Don't count on it. I don't even want a Tesla anymore.
So we're back to, I don't want one anymore either. So we're back to Citizens United.
I think that was a fundamental shift. And actually, you know, Rev D was talking about that a little bit. You know, that we started, this country was founded because we wanted religious freedom. And so we escaped from Europe and established ourselves as a spiritually, religiously free country. And then we decided that we really didn't want to have a remote monarch who's in charge of us. So we took control of our own lives politically. And then we created an economy that works for everybody. And unfortunately, at this point, the economy is overtaking the other two. So the people who have the money are telling us what church we have to go to, what we need to believe, what we need to do, who's going to own the government. And so it's high time for that cycle to turn around again. It's like, okay, done with that. Let's get back to we the people.
Yeah. I mean, and you know, on the point, but off the point just a little bit on this idea of you know, people with privilege and not wanting to give it up. I don't know if either of you saw this crazy guy at the fifth game of the World Series. I think it was the fifth game or the fourth game, where he tries to he actually takes the ball out of the player's hand.
Oh yeah, the glove catch.
Yes, the guy caught the ball, which would have made the player out, and they counted him out. But he stood there and lived. What manner of privilege do you think you can interrupt the game and grab the ball? A season ticket holder, by the way, which means he has money because he has a season ticket. He's paying some money.
And he also knows the rules.
Yes.
And then when the Major League Baseball tried to call for his removal and his ban, he whined and cried. But I've got season tickets and you won't let me give them to my son. So what am I going to do? I'm going to miss a game. I'm not going to get my full value, right? He whined that he would be excluded because he still had one more potential game on his season ticket.
Which he did, the fifth game. And they banned him from the game. But this just speaks to the privilege that I see with this mega group. That is that's the kind of thing that they want to be able to do whatever they want to do without impunity.
Yep.
About a year or two ago, a friend of mine asked me, he said, you're out on a bike ride, you're out in the park, you're doing your shopping, you're doing whatever it is you're doing, you're out in the world, and you see a guy drive by in a pickup truck with an American flag on it. What's your first thought? And let's be real, folks. We're all judging people.
Oh, yeah.
I judge myself. I judge what I see in the world, right? We can go down the conversation of righteous judgment and all that and da-da-da-da-da. The end result is we're human. When we see certain things, we equate those with certain ideals and certain ideas. And I was embarrassed to say that when I see a guy in a pickup truck, my first thought isn't, there's a good American patriot. It's not my first thought. And in the pregame, we were talking a little bit about yard signs, right? And I took my dogs for a walk yesterday literally, and one of my neighbors has a Trump sign in their lawn. Now I've never, and we've only lived in this neighborhood for a couple, 2-3 years, but they haven't had signs up in the past that I know of. This showed up in the last day or two, this sign. So this late in the race, this person puts out a sign. And I got to be honest, my immediate thought was not, hey, there's a good American getting involved in our political system.
No, your first thought was, hey, there's something for my dog to pee on.
There's somebody I'm not going to invite to my next neighborhood gathering. There's somebody I'm not going to bother to talk to on the street corner. There's somebody that is only about the money. They're only worried. To me, that sign represents that I could care less about people. So I want somebody that cares about we the people.
Yeah, I'm with you. And I think more than I'm just interested in the money, it's possible I'm interested in myself, but also I'm not interested in doing my homework. You know, I'm willing to listen to what somebody says and take it at face value. And even though people have been saying to me for as long as they have that the news sources are biased and you need to find clear indicators. So when somebody's telling you something, check and see if everybody says the same thing or if there's if there's pushback about it. You know, be an informed voter. And the electorate is turning into the educated versus the uneducated, and that's another. I'm relatively well educated and relatively intelligent, but I'd like to follow what's going on, and I don't like listening to Steve Bannon, but I know exactly why I don't like listening to Steve Bannon. And every once in a while I do listen to Steve Bannon, and I go, yeah, he's doing it again.
Yeah, this is why I don't listen to him.
Right. But it's illuminating for me to turn on Fox News and see what they're saying. You know, it's interesting to hear that after Trump's rally at Madison Square Garden, where one of his opening acts called Puerto Rico a floating pile of garbage. And Joe Biden was so incensed that he came out and said that the person who would say that is garbage. And of course, being Joe Biden, stuttered and stumbled over it and made it seem like Trump supporters were garbage. And it was Joe Biden doing his usual stumbling. But that's what they're talking about. Oh, well, Joe Biden is now saying that the Trump supporters are garbage. Right. The same as, the Hillary Clinton and the basket of deplorables. And there's no attention paid to the fact that this guy was invited to be on the platform with Donald Trump at Madison Square Garden to incite Puerto Rico.
And I saw a story, and let's take it a little deeper. I haven't found a second version of this, but I saw a story that claims they cleared the script because there was a joke in the script that went too far. And they
took another one out?
There was one in there that went a little too far, and my understanding is they were calling
didn't go too far.
They were using the C word to describe a woman that we all are planning to vote for, right? So my understanding is they saw the script. His people, Donald probably didn't, but his people saw the script and said, no, this joke goes too far. We can't do that. So they left the Puerto Rico joke in. But
and here's the thing: after that, of course, they go and find some Puerto Rican citizens or Americans of Puerto Rican descent, and they're saying, "Oh, we don't mind him saying that. He wasn't serious. That's not Trump." I mean, but it's Trump's people. It's his organization, his machine. Like you said, somebody on his team approved it.
Right.
And for them to say it's not Trump is short-sighted, because it is Trump and his team. And of course, if Trump wanted to say that, what better way to say it and keep distance from it is to get somebody else to say it.
Right. If you believe the reporting on the reporting, you're probably right. And that's what they do. Somebody reports something like I just did, whether it's true or not. They just report something. And then all the other outlets pick it up and say, well, according to this guy, this is happening. And oh my God, let me give you some commentary on what this guy supposedly said. It did say that we don't even. Is journalism dead?
Yeah,
Media is not dead. But is journalism dead? Let's see what Linda's saying. I've made a point this past year to put out my flag on every patriotic holiday. I'll put it out on Tuesday. I believe voting is the most patriotic thing I do. Good for you, Linda. Right on. I agree. Amen. I don't see you driving around with it on the back of your pickup truck, though.
Is that different where you put your flag? There you go.
I think
And,
so.
and using the magic of internet search, Heathcliff, the comedian on Sunday, actually tested the jokes in a comedy club appearance on Saturday night, and the Puerto Rico joke bombed, and he used it anyway. And the Bulwark is saying that they did the team that was putting them on the teleprompter refused to put up the one where he labeled Harris with an obscenity.
Right.
So yeah, they were reading that, and he had already tested it. So was it on the teleprompter? Did he ad lib it? It's like we don't have the footage of the teleprompter, but who cares? Who cares,
Right.
really?
Right.
It's your event. You got to take ownership of your event. Oh, I had no idea what they were going to say at my event.
Right. And that's where and if this is any indication of how he's going to govern, where things just happen and I didn't know nothing about it, we're going to fire him. He uses this like, you're fired. It's this stupid saying that he had from that damn show. I mean, this guy is just a comedian, con man, actor. And I can't believe intelligent people don't see their way through it. And the other part of it that they're beginning to create hasn't bubbled up as much as I think it will, is they're doing this class thing, right? I was listening to something the other day, and they were talking about the economy, and they were talking about how because of the evolution of the workplace and technology, the average high school student cannot get a job other than working in a service industry that's going to pay minimal amount of money unless they get a trained skill, which requires some work and some effort. And a lot of people aren't willing to do that now. And so this gap of the haves and the have-not is just going to grow and grow and grow. And because of the cost of university, more and more people are going to fall out of that. Excuse me. So you're going to have this big gap, and it's going to be based on class, but the class is also going to be heavily racially pushed, if you will.
Right. Yeah.
And it's going to be a mess.
So there is a solution for that. So, and oh, by the way, if you want to know what a Trump presidency is going to look at, I will refer you to 2017 to 2021, because we actually have some perspective and some history, which is the chaotic. It's this show. I'm allowed to say shit show. That we've already seen. I mean, this is not going. There you go. The minister's talking it. It should not be a surprise. And the way to deal with that gap between the people who are educated and are driving the economy and the people who are living in the economy is the same one that it's always been. Is there are things that we need people to do on a regular basis, and it's not just in the service industry. We complain about the Chinese making lots of stuff and selling it to us. And we've started that experiment in making stuff ourselves and selling it to ourselves and to the Chinese and everybody else. And that actually works. You do need to train people to make stuff in a high-tech age. But you don't have to go to the university. You don't need to get $80,000 in school debt.
Nope.
There are ways to do that and become a trained, if not educated, member of the workforce. And we talk about the economy. The economy is doing this. Wall Street, the Dow Industrials are up. That's the stock in 30 companies. Even the S&P 500 is a stock in 500 companies. The U.S. economy is so heavily influenced by consumers. You want to influence the economy, go out and buy a washing machine.
Right.
It's durable goods. It makes that sector go up. It gets money into circulation. And it's all about the consumer. It's all about we. And, pretending that the people on the top can make the money and hold on to it and everything's going to be fine is just nonsense. And oh, by the way, we now have the best economy in the world and possibly the best economy in the history of the United States, and nobody's mentioning it.
Yeah.
I mean, softly.
And when you think about the consumerism that gets pushed, I mean, why do I need to buy a refrigerator every 2 years? I mean, make the darn things last so I can keep it for 6 years, and then I don't need to buy a new one every 2 years. I mean, like the holiday season is coming up, and they're going to be pushing a whole bunch of stuff that's not needed, not going to last. It's a momentary gratification. And then they'll start gearing up on January 1. They'll start gearing up for December 25th right away.
God bless America.
Black Friday. What are you doing talking about Christmas? It's Black Friday. We had a bigger holiday before that, damn it.
We still have time. But as important as the election is, I got to say there's one issue that looms large right in front of us that a lot of people are just ignoring. Some cataclysmic change that is right in our face. And of course, I'm talking about the end of daylight saving time on Saturday. As we fall back. That sounds so un-American, to fall back. What do you mean fall back? I'm not retreating.
America daylight again.
Yeah.
And there has been so much controversy, not nearly as much this year as there was in previous years. My neighbor around the corner, who we walk dogs with every once in a while, has kids who are in middle school and high school. And they were wanting to petition to have year-round daylight saving time so that they could play sports in the afternoon without having it get dark. And it's like, oh, I hear you, and I understand, and I support you. And let's just petition to have school start an hour earlier instead of making everybody change their clocks.
That ain't gonna work. I tell you that.
Well, I mean, and it's crazy. My sixth grade grandson, in Florida, he leaves his house before 7 o'clock to get to school. Mm-hmm. Now he's leaving before the parents leave to go to work, right?
Yep.
I mean, to have these 12-year-olds and 11 and 10-year-olds getting up that early to go to, they can't be functioning properly.
The 10 and 11, go ahead.
If you listen to my teenagers, there's lots of research that says they can't operate that early in the morning and need that extra sleep. But that's according to my teenagers, so I haven't followed up on that one.
It is possible that your teenagers know what they're talking about, and see, with the 10 and 12-year-olds, they actually can get up early and function okay. But getting into adolescence and teen years, they do need more sleep. They do tend to stay up later. And my school district, where I live right here in the snooty suburbs of Philadelphia, actually changed around the school schedules so that high school starts at 8:30 in the morning instead of starting at 7 like it used to, or 7:30, because they wanted to accommodate the fact that teens learn better, live better, survive better when they have more sleep. Now, they're completely unable to legislate when they go to bed, which of course was more of a problem for me when I was a teenager, but there are ways to deal with this. The idea has been floated. Let's make daylight saving time year-round so that we don't have to give up an hour of daylight. And it's like, yeah, I hear you, and we're giving up an hour of daylight because not every day is created equal. There's a winter solstice and a summer solstice. On the summer solstice, there's 14-point-something hours of daylight. And on the winter solstice, there's 9-point-something hours of daylight. That 5 hours is coming from somewhere. It's either coming off in the morning or coming off in the afternoon. And I have good reason to believe that making daylight saving time last year-round is not going to be a successful and happy thing, because in 1973, nobody remembers this, there was an energy crisis.
I remember.
And you remember that one? And then in 1974, the world's most popular president, Richard Nixon, said for 2 years we're going to have daylight saving time year-round. They're going to do that for 2 years, and it lasted for 1 year, because after one winter with daylight saving time and the elementary school kids at the bus stop, not at 7 in the dark, but at 8:15 in the dark, everybody said, this is stupid. It's worth changing the clocks. So it's nice to know that we can forget and learn the same lessons over and over again.
Yeah.
I remember that. I got to tell you, the guys, this story. I remember the gas lines, and we lived like we were in a little rural area, community, crossroads kind of town that had we had one store. We didn't even have the term convenience store yet, right? We had one little store and a gas station, and the line for the gas station would get backed up. And my brother and I had this great idea. Let's go down to the gas line and sell sodas. So we went down to the gas line one day and we're selling sodas. And people are buying sodas off the kids. And this one guy, I don't even know who he was. He goes, "Damn, man, wish you kids had a beer." And we both went, "Ooh." So the next day, we're out there selling beer to the gas line, and we're making money, and we're doing pretty good. And you want to know who pulls up to the end of the gas line to sit and wait, get gas?
Officer Krupke.
No, my old man does. They're swinging his beers. They weren't our beers, of course. We went home, got them out of the extra refrigerator in the garage, got my father's beers, and we were down there selling beers. We weren't old enough to buy them. So luckily the cops never came by, but so I don't give it often to tell that story. I don't know if I've ever told either of you.
Yeah, well, and what an entrepreneurial moment, right? You know, truly taking the vision of an opportunity. But you know that doesn't happen often now because you think about a new business now, they're going to get cream because they can't get the social media, or they can't get this, or they can't get the supplies, or they can't afford to keep the employees. So for people to start, we always talking about we're this entrepreneurial machine, which I agree, we have creativity out of the bucket, right? But the mechanisms for a starting person to start a business or get a house or any of these things that supposedly will make them solid U.S. citizens are very fleeting, and the current way of doing it is not working. And if 45 gets back in there, I think it's going to be worse. I think it'll be worse.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that. My mind is still boggling over the story of Robert as a youth. I'm sure minor.
Oh yeah,
illegally selling stolen alcohol to motorists.
People sitting on the side of the highway. How long would that last today? You got, you pick up flowers or the newspaper or oranges around the city, but if you had some guy, an unhoused person sitting on the street corner waving beers for sale, I don't think it'd last.
Unless they're Trump branded beers, in which case, it enshrined.
Yeah, but then it would be like skunk beer. So
you have to change the name to sparkling water.
Oh heavens!
So, hey, here's what I found, and I like to share also. Okay, this comes from the United Methodist Church. This is branded by the United Methodist Church. Halloween, a day when we get it right. Strangers come to us, beautiful, ugly, odd, or scary, and we accept them all without question, compliment them, treat them kindly, and give them good things. Why don't we live like that?
Wow.
That's great. That's a wonderful insight. As I was sitting out in my front yard, it was unseasonably warm in Philadelphia. It was like in the 70s yesterday. So everybody was sitting out in their driveways and their front yards giving candy to the kids. And I was remarking to one of my neighbors that this is my opportunity to force high fructose corn syrup on the unexpecting children in my neighborhood.
You always find the love in it, Billy. Yes.
And I didn't get that many trick-or-treaters last night. So now I'm stuck with all this candy that I got to do something with, and I hope I don't eat it. But I don't know. Did you get a lot?
Take it. Oh, we got tons of them. We went through all the candy, but take it to church and foist your high fructose corn syrup on the unsuspecting congregation.
Yes.
And do it before service So in the middle of service, they're wide awake, willing to jump around. Yeah, go, Reverend, go.
I'll have to do that for sure.
Beautiful.
Unbelievable.
Well, folks, I don't know if we've made the world any more spiritual here this morning, but I think we've done run out of time. We want to thank our special guest, Reverend Dr. Bill, all the way from New Thought, Philadelphia, and the as he says, the hoity-toity suburbs of Philadelphia. Thanks for being with us this morning, Bill. It's good having you here.
It's wonderful to be here. Happy Election Day, if that's not an oxymoron.
Yes.
Where's my sticker? I voted. I'm done. I don't have to think about it anymore. I voted yesterday.
I got to take mine in. I got it right there.
There you go.
If you live in Portland, Oregon, you can save time and just set your own ballot on fire.
All right, we don't have time for that story, folks.
I'm sorry. I started something new. I shouldn't have said anything.
If you haven't voted yet, please do get out and vote. If you have voted, thank you very much. If you're considering not voting, well, we're not much on public shaming around here, but don't do that, please. Get out and vote.
Vote for the future. Amen.
Yes.
Vote for the future. All right. I am having so much fun. I'm forgetting to set up my exit video here. There it is. All right, folks, we're out of here for now. Stay tuned for all of our regular programming throughout the day. And until next time, we want to wish you peace and richest blessings. Bye now.
And thanks for listening to this week's episode of Ministers Talking. We'll be back again next week with more commentary on current affairs, world events, and any other our ministers want to talk about. And if you found value here, please share our with your friends. Until next time, peace and blessings.